advanced in 30 years from now?
Yeah, so several things to say about that. While you just listed the things in your life, what you didn't talk about were the many things about your life that would have been the same as your parents or your grandparents. So you kind of listed just the things that were different. And I would argue, if we looked at your life, a lot of what you do in your life is unchanged. And that actually may be most of what you're doing: sleeping in a bed, sitting down and eating some food with a fork, stuff like that. And so there was a little bit of a bias to focus on the things that are going to change. And I think what you're asking, in a certain sense, is what are the things that are going to be different? And so, but the first thing I want to say is that we'll probably still be doing all the things you did.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because this is how technology works: is it accumulates stuff. It doesn't necessarily usually replace things. It's more an accumulative aspect. So we have more and more choices. And so in addition to all the things that you currently do, you would do some additional things. Like you would probably put on some kind of gear or enter in some kind of device that allows you to share experiences. Might call these right now virtual reality, but their names have certainly changed. Mixed reality, other worlds, alternative, synthetic places, whatever. We're going to have many, many words from it, and there's many different types. None better exemplifier than the Pokemon Go, which just appeared seemingly out of nowhere a couple days ago, which is this mixed reality where you can see another world with your phone. That kind of a thing. It will be added to the stuff that you're doing now.
Right.
And the point I'm trying to make in my book is that those screens, those options, those opportunities will increase in number, and that we may often borrow a screen that then recognizes us, and we can use it as our screen, even though it may be on a wall somewhere that we don't even own. The second thing is there's this sense in which we will be engaging with AIs, but most of the AI, artificial intelligence, the world is going to be in the back offices. There'll be some forward-facing AI, and those, I think, we're going to have a conversational interface. So in addition to all the things you were doing, you will have a conversation. You'll be telling something about what you want to do, and that thing would also be anticipating what you're doing, like a GPS for your life.
Right. So today it's an assistant. Today you might have an assistant or someone who does something for you.
36. Touchscreen projection. A projector that turns any flat surface into a screen for light to play on. 35. Magical object manipulation. A hand-tracking technology for virtual reality. 34. Football hologram. Extends football games beyond your existing screen.
'It's very important to fix a broken system.
33. Persona transfer. Animates a digital model of a well-photographed person.
That's because there's a lot of moving parts, and the legislative process can be ugly.
32. Manned drone. Hovers in the air and flies with a top speed of 100 kilometers per hour. 31. Drone capture launcher. Captures a drone physically in a net and brings it to the ground safely under a parachute. 30. Looncopter. A drone that goes underwater, then turns to either side, dives or ascends using its water ballast system. 29. Snake. A robot that swims around undersea equipment, performing inspection duties and simple maintenance and repair tasks. 28. Worm. A robot that climbs a variety of stairs. 30. 27. Spider. A robot that climbs a wall using a pair of steerable propellers that generate thrust, pushing the vehicle against the wall and keeping it from falling. 26. Fly. A robot that flies, perches, climbs, and takes off. 25. Minion. A robot that is electrically powered and hydraulically actuated.
I can make eye contact.
24. Comedian. A robot that is designed for human interaction in a public environment.
Yeah, I'm hungry for it, and these guys are awesome. I mean it.
23. Lady. A robot that looks like a Hollywood actress. 22. Wearable surfboard. A suit that has control surfaces in targeted areas around the body to increase hydrodynamics and lift in just the right areas. 21. Underwater hang glider. A water sports board that consists of 2 hydrodynamic wings. 20. Skyscape. A water jet pad attached to a board which supplies propulsion to drive the board through the air and water. 19. Emergency wristband. Inflates instantly and brings you to the water's surface, saving you from drowning. 18. Ocean cleaning. An automated rubbish bin that catches floating rubbish, oil, fuel, and detergents. 17. Hidden pool. Lets you hide it or change its floor height to match your needs. 16. Nail art printer. Prints nail art directly onto your fingertips with your smartphone. 15. Handwriting machine. Writes or draws on almost any flat surface with your favorite pen, pencil, or marker. 14. Flexible mutable tattoo. A Bluetooth-connected, kinetic battery-charged display that lives in a human body. 13. Holoportation. A 3D video capture system that transmits a person anywhere instantly.
Hey, Lily, I miss you too. I'll be home very soon. Bye bye.
12. Nice hoverboard. A flying board that can carry a standing human passenger with a weight of up to 110 kilograms.
And that eventually we will run out.
Since automobiles were first invented, people have been looking for alternatives to gasoline to get them from point A to point B. But what if the byproduct of you traveling across the country wasn't toxic exhaust, but something a whole lot better?
It's a zero-emissions hydrogen engine. Water drips out of the tailpipe. You could drink that water, it's so clean.
Fuel cells, like the ones found in the Toyota Fine S concept car, are changing the way people look at powering their vehicles.
This is Honda's hydrogen refueling station. It's a futuristic concept, and it's based on generating hydrogen from a renewable source, mainly sunlight. We take sunlight from the solar panels, we generate electricity. From the electricity, we break apart water into hydrogen and oxygen. And from the hydrogen, we store it in the station, and then we use that to fuel our fuel cell vehicle.
And it's not just sunlight that can make hydrogen. There are a variety of ways to produce this efficient fuel.
The method that's used prevalently today is to take natural gas, which is predominantly methane, and do what's called a steam shift reaction, where you add high pressure water to the methane, and you get a lot of hydrogen coming off.
Once extracted, the hydrogen is contained in tanks. When you need to fuel, drive to a hydrogen service station and fill up just like gasoline. And why switch from gasoline to hydrogen?
The big advantages with hydrogen, number one, is you get up to 25% greater efficiency from a hydrogen internal combustion engine than you do from a gasoline internal combustion engine. The emissions are reduced 99% plus.
And now, Ford Motor Company has joined the revolution using this alternative power source in a brand new concept car.
The Model U is really a project that we did to have a very serious look at how cars are produced, the type of engines that they will need in the future.
The hydrogen-powered Model U is the latest in alternative power. But look closely at the stylized body, and you'll see something you won't find on any other vehicle. All the body panels are recyclable. But when you're done with the car, don't bother taking it down to your local plastics recycling plant.
It's all soy-based materials, both in the fenders, the seats, corn-based tires with very little carbon in them.
Even the rollaway canvas top looks good enough to eat. The Model U takes renewable resources in automobiles to a whole new level.
The entire car becomes cradle to cradle as opposed to cradle to grave car. And so it turns out to be an entire cycle of life that the car can go right back into the ground when we're finished with it. It's a very exciting concept and one actually that's quite realistic.
And it proves with new alternative power source vehicles like the Model U, concepts aren't just about creating the most opulent cars on the planet. They're also about saving the planet.
The car is as clean as a field of corn because it's actually made out of a field of corn.
It just goes to show you, you can have your dream car and eat it too. Coming up, the line between fantasy and reality is blurred. We'll see some of the concept cars may let you dream bigger than you've ever imagined about how you're going to travel in style. But what do the biggest auto manufacturers do when they want to drive their imaginations wild? They come here, to Zumikon, Switzerland. But if you thought this tiny European country was all about cuckoo clocks and cheese with holes in it, then you haven't traveled here, to Rinspeed, where concept builder Frank Rinderknecht has created a supercharged empire designing some of the most experimental concept cars ever built.
People considered me to be crazy, to be outrageous. They forecasted an end to come soon, either being broke or going out of business or whatever. And we're in the comfortable situation now that people are really almost expecting it and looking forward for next year what's to come up.
Rinspeed builds custom cars for wealthy individuals, but they also partner with manufacturers to experiment with new features and new concepts. And here may be one of the strangest you've driven. Ever come across that hard-to-find parking spot only to discover that it's just a little too small for your car? Rinspeed has a solution. It's no illusion. That car is getting smaller. It's called the Presto. And it's one of a stable of Rinspeed concept cars that push the limits of auto innovation.
A prototype should open a door to a vision. Should open a door to what the future could bring, maybe in a different way, but made us think.
Like this. It may appear to be a high-speed sports car, but push a button, and this vehicle becomes something else altogether.
The Bedouin, a retractable roof to transform a station wagon basically into a pickup truck.
And the interior is as unusual as the outside. It's got a cowboy theme, a rawhide interior. Even the Western-looking seats spell out Rinspeed in rhinestones. It's just one of the features that has allowed the Swiss concept maker to lead the way in designing some of the most unusual multi-use cars you've ever seen.
I create the concept and then I have a very good, very efficient team of designers and technicians, and the rest is teamwork.
And this team just might be crazy. Where's that yellow car going? It's heading toward a body of water. No, this isn't an amphibious vehicle, but what it does do will make you want to hit the sand right now.
People turn around and say, wow, what is this? Does it fly?
Just hit a button, and a hoist lifts out another vehicle you might not expect to see on any beach, anywhere. It's not a jet ski. Get your motor blowing. It's your own personal hydrofoil. You may be asking yourself, what would drive a person to want to make concept cars like these for a living? The answer is simple.
Computer calculates the height of the layers. On the computer, the result is displayed as a layer height profile. The atomic force microscope measures surface currents and other material properties with very high resolution. If, for example, an organic solar cell is to be tested, the scientist can measure spatially resolved photocurrents within the solar cell in order to determine which areas supply more or less power. Currently, laboratory-made organic solar cells provide an efficiency of 11.1% based on an area of 1 square centimeter. The Karlsruhe scientists are investigating a new technology aimed at enhancing the efficiency of the cells.
Well, our current flagship project is the research we are doing on organic tandem solar cells. Here we stack 2 solar cells on top of each other to further improve the absorption of light. That is to say, the light that hasn't been absorbed by the first solar cell is then absorbed by the second one.
In contrast to organic solar cells, an OLED emits light. However, since there are more similarities than differences in the production of the 2 cell types, research results can be applied to both areas. Daniel Barrow puts his laboratory result to the test by applying a voltage to the 2 terminals. The light effects show that the OLED works.
Die organische Photovoltaik ist heute nach wie vor ein Forschungsgebiet. Today, organic photovoltaics is still an area of active research. Of course, there's a number of working groups doing research on organic photovoltaics, not only in Germany, but this is happening worldwide. Especially Europe has a leading role with regard to the research on organic solar cells. These activities are supported by the European Union, and of course, this applies to us too. Nevertheless, there are also some companies that are already active in this field, and a number of these companies, among them also German ones, say that their first pilot project for organic photovoltaics are almost ready for market entry. Of course, we're not speaking of applications such as solar cells for rooftops here. We haven't got that far yet, but of mobile applications, integration into bags or similar applications.
Other than organic solar cells, OLEDs are indeed already available on the market, but they are being used above all in display technology. With the development of cost-efficient organic electronics, OLEDs will in future also conquer the general lighting market.
Due to the fact that OLEDs are just a few millimeters thick, I can stick them anywhere, in theory at least. Just imagine that all of this could be printed on foil too, time will tell, and that this could possibly even be done in a curved space. Such possibilities are absolutely fascinating. Anyway, this means to us that there will be another light source available that could in fact be used for any purpose whatsoever.
With AIs, but most of the AI, artificial intelligence, the world is going to be in the back offices. There'll be some forward-facing AI, and those I think we're going to have a conversational interface. So, in addition to all the things you were doing, you will have a conversation. You'll be telling something about what you want to do, and that thing would also be anticipating what you're doing, like a GPS for your life.
Right. So today it's an assistant. Today you might have an assistant or someone who does something for you. In the future, it might be an artificial assistant.
Right. And it's sort of always there, always on, like the Amazon Echo, which is sort of waiting for you to alert it. But more importantly, it's doing this thing that the GPS does for you, which is it's anticipating your route all the time. And anytime you deviate or change your mind, it's not flummoxed. It just has another alternative for you, another anticipation. And so in the same sense that it's not just waiting for you to ask, it's actually looking ahead and preparing things in anticipation of what you're going to do next. And if you don't do that, no problem, I have another option for you. Oh, you're not doing that? Okay, no problem. I have another. And so there is this infinite patience in a certain sense of anticipating where you're going to go and always changing it depending on the fact that you may change your mind. And it may actually help you change your mind in some senses. So there is a sense in which I think the internet will be not a place that we go to or log into, but a presence. So the other thing that I'm trying to add to your picture is that there will be this presence that's there that we converse with, that's anticipating, helping, assisting, guiding us in some ways, that we are communicating, that the interface is communication. So right now we have a very screen-based thing. We look at screens, we swipe screens, we bang on screens, but there'll be no screens. I mean, there'll be, on this interface, we'll not have a screen. It'll be a conversational interface where we're having a conversation with. So this idea that you'll go through your day, not necessarily looking at screens, but having a conversation with this other thing.
Yes, Burning Man on the playa in the Nevada desert. This is my mate Ty Neve, and we're walking around. This is the annual festival.